Kali na kevalam Devi Kala Swarupini. Kali is not merely a goddess, but the very form of existence itself. Abhinavagupta does not describe Kali as a deity. He describes her as Kala-Shakti, the power that measures, dissolves, reveals, and withdraws. She is not a divine figure standing at the end of time, but the subtle pulse in which the universe exists and existence itself is possible. She is the dark interval between moments, the gap where continuity breaks, the silence where the story cannot continue. And Avinavagupta says Kali is the devouring present, the now that consumes past and future before they can harden into illusion. She does not destroy things, she destroys false continuity. And Avinavagupta says what truly exists does not need duration to survive. Time is not your enemy. Time is the test of what is real, and Kali is that test. Kala or time is not merely a sequence of moments moving toward decay. It is a power of consciousness itself, a function of Shakti, through which reality reveals its truth. Most human suffering arises from the feeling that time is working against us. We fear aging, loss, impermanence, and death. We experience time as pressure, something that erodes joy, weakens the body, and takes away what we love. But Avinavagupta asks a profound question. What if suffering begins the moment you try to last? Because ego or Ahankara is not a substance, it is a story stretched across moments of our life. I was this, I am this, I will remain this. A thread woven through time, pretending to be a self. Kali cuts that thread, not violently, not angrily, but effortlessly, because time does not attack the ego. It simply refuses to support the lie of permanence. This is why Kali is called Mahakali, not because she brings death, but because she reveals that nothing false can outlive the present. Ego survives by postponement. I'll change my habits later. I'll face this someday. I am defined by what I have earned. Time arrives and says, now. And in that now, the story collapses. This is Kali. She is the devourer of your ego, not a destroyer of awareness, but the devourer of your narrative. Because what is the ego really? Avinavagupta says the ego is memory pretending to be identity, a bundle of impressions or samskaras held together by repetition, and time exposes this flaw. Every moment that passes proves you are not identical to the moment before. Cells change, thoughts change, desires shift, so identity resists. And resistance creates fear, fear of loss, fear of aging, fear of becoming unrecognizable to yourself. This is why identity creates suffering, because identity says, I must remain, and time says, nothing does. The clash between these two ideas is called suffering, not pain, but dukkha. Dukkha is not caused by change. Dukkha is caused by arguing with change. The ego looks at time and calls it cruel. Abhinavagupta looks at time and calls it compassionate, because time dissolves what cannot survive truth. Kali does not destroy the self. She destroys the belief that the self is a thing, and what remains when the story collapses, not emptiness, but presence. Pure Chitta, or awareness without your biography or your story. No past to defend, no future to secure, only being. This is why Kali appears terrifying to the ego, because the ego survives only in duration, but awareness needs no time. It is always now. Avinavagupta says liberation does not come from escaping time. Liberation comes from entering time fully, from surrendering to impermanence. When you stop fighting change, you stop suffering change. The moment resistance ends, Kali transforms. She is no longer terror, she becomes moksha. The same force that once devoured you now devours what was never you. This is why Kali wears skulls. They are not symbols of death. They are symbols of ended identities, roles that dissolved, names that fell away, masks that could not survive the present. Kali is not saying you will be nothing. She is saying you were never what you thought. Let me show you what you actually are. And this is freedom, because what you truly are was never threatened by time. Only your story was. So when life changes, when certainty collapses, when the future dissolves, that is Kali. Not punishing, but revealing. Time is not coming to take your life, it is coming to take your illusions away. And when they fall, what remains is not fear but presence. Kali is not the end, she is the end of you pretending that you are not Shiva.